Monark, the latest title from FuRyu and Lancrase, just came out, and I've had the opportunity to play through the entirety of the Japanese release, putting in 80 hours to obtain the game's true ending. And while Monark isn't a particularly difficult game, it can have its punishing moments. So I put together a list of things that I feel will help make your trek through Monark that much smoother and easier. So here are my top tips for Monark. Near the very beginning of the game, during the prologue of Monark, you'll be asked a series of questions about your ego, and based on how you answer these questions, your character's initial ego parameters will be determined. For 99% of the game, these parameters can be completely ignored. However, the one place they can actually have an impact is at the very beginning of the game. This is because based on what your highest ego parameter is, after this series of questions, the first demon fiend you gain access to will be determined. In the grand scheme of things, this also doesn't really matter since you will eventually gain access to all of them, but having access to certain ones early can make your progress through the game that much smoother. And for this, I recommend aiming to make sure that Lust is your highest ego parameter after answering all 15 questions so that you obtain the fiend corresponding to Lust. Lust is a powerful magic type fiend that can cast single target and AoE magic spells that hit incredibly hard, and it can also augment its own psi stat to further increase its damage output. It's also nice that one of the very first abilities it gains access to, Fireball, happens to be one of the hardest hitting attacks in the entire game. And if that wasn't enough, another good reason to grab Lust as your first fiend is that it is an integral part and one of the best grinding strategies, something you will be doing a lot of in Monark. Let me know in the comments below if you want a video covering that method. Now to make sure that you actually get Lust, we can use this handy chart that I put together. The first column denotes the question, while the second column denotes what ego parameter can be increased based on your answer to that question. Finally, the third and fourth columns correspond to the answers to the questions, with the cells highlighted in red indicating which answer will actually increase the corresponding ego parameter. When answering a question highlighted in red, the corresponding ego parameter will be increased by 40, with each one having a maximum of 80 except for Greed, which can only reach 40 points. So to actually make sure that Lust is our highest parameter so that we get its fiend, you will want to answer as such, with the green highlighted cells being your answer to each question. Now it should be noted that it actually is possible to get the Greed fiend as well, which happens to be a very excellent fiend, but the process for doing that is a little bit more complicated, so I just recommend going for Lust. The main character from Monark gets a rather unique ability which allows him to link up with other characters in battle, sharing all buffs and debuffs between the linked characters. Learning to abuse this power can trivialize early encounters and is key to conquering the later boss fights. For example, you will inevitably fight other Pact Bearers and their monarchs. And the Pact Bearers specifically have the same ability as your main character and other human party members to increase their awake gauge. And of course, they will do this and go into an awakened state, drastically increasing all of their stats. Well, you can use the main character's ability to link with other characters and or enemies to gain the awakened buff for yourself by simply linking with an awakened Pact Bearer. If you then use your main character's special attack, you can get the benefits of the awakened state and remove it from the enemy in the process. But there are other ways to abuse the main character's linking capabilities. You can purposely awaken your main character and then link them to all of your party members, fiends included, to awaken your entire team at once. The benefits and ways of using this are numerous, but the three I found to be the best are for quickly buffing your entire party, resetting everyone's mad gauge to 0, and demolishing bosses in one turn. By linking everyone together, all buffs will be shared. What this means is by using the main character's linking capabilities, you don't need to apply buffs to each party member individually. Instead, you can use any buffs you wish to apply once and then link everyone together and spread those buffs around to everyone. Another benefit of linking everyone together is that you can reset everyone's mad gauge if you happen to link up after the main character or one of your human party members is in the awakened state. This is because awakening has the benefits of not only increasing a character's stats, but also making them immune to mad gauge increases and lowering their mad percent to 0. By combining all of these things together, you can set up devastating turns in which you buff up and awaken the turn prior, then link everyone together, sharing the buffs and awakening state. From there, have everyone in your party just keep using the reorder command to give their turn to your Lust Fiend, and let it unload on the enemy with spell after spell after spell. Madness is one of the core components of Monark. It functions simultaneously as both a time limit mechanic and a resource, but it's actually very easy to manage. When exploring misfilled areas, for example, you can simply leave, fast travel to the nurse's office, and reset your mad levels to 0 without any repercussions. You can even fast travel back to the exact same mist-filled area you were just in with no loss of progress whatsoever. Do this every time at the end of a mist-filled section just before you do that section's enemy encounter, and you can enter every enemy encounter with a low mad percentage. And once you are actually in battle, you can use the method I touched upon in the previous section where you awaken one of your human party members, and then use the main character's linking abilities to clear mad levels from your entire party by linking them with somebody in the awakened state. The last thing you can do to keep mad levels in check comes whenever you first enter a new mist-filled area. Upon doing so, Vanitas will alert you to that area being connected to the Abyss. At the same time, he will automatically add a new phone number to your phone. Make sure you call this number immediately and complete the subsequent battle to make your progress through the mist-filled area much smoother. It's also a precious source of SP. Speaking of SP, managing it is something you will definitely want to do in order to cut down on grinding as much as possible. And an easy way to do this is to make sure you're not buying healing items from Vanitas, as in most situations this is just a waste of precious SP. In fact, in the 80 hours that I played to get the true ending, I never once needed to buy a single healing item from him. What you do want to do with Vanitas is make sure you have him break down any unwanted gear for your fiends. As you play through the game and inevitably grind through a bunch of battles, you will be getting lots and lots of pieces of gear for your fiends. Some of these can have special abilities on them that are quite useful, so it's always worth checking what you get, but make sure to have Vanitas turn whatever you don't want into SP, as there's no reason to hold on to unwanted gear. Finally, there will be times in Monark in which a party member will be taken away from you and you will be forced to use someone different. In these situations, you may be tempted to use the feature to reset a character's level to 1 and get back a portion of their SP. Doing so will refund 80% of the SP that you had used on that character, and may seem like a great way to get a new party member up to speed, especially since new party members always join at level 1. However, I highly recommend against doing this. Unfortunately though, I can't really elaborate without going into spoilers, so just trust me when I say that it's not worth it. And that's it for my top tips for Monark. If you liked the video and found it helpful, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you have any questions about this video, Monark, or any other game that I cover, feel free to hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RoslinGaming, where I stream most days of the week. Alternatively, you can join my Discord server where myself or one of our community members would be happy to help you out. You can find links to both of these in the video description below. Until next time, take care.